Hey Jay, how are you?
Good, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, thanks.
The pin is 0587.
Here we go. All right. Cell phone charger back there if you need one.
Oh, awesome.
Visiting from out of town?
Yes, they sent me up here for work.
What do you do for work?
I fly for American.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was here the entire month of May.
Really?
They based me out of here, and they only used me for one day the entire month.
Wow.
And the day I go back, they're like, "Yep, we need you back here for a day."
Oh, geez. So where are you normally then?
I live in Dallas, but
Okay.
I'm from Atlanta.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I like Chicago though. This time of year, at least.
Really?
Today's not the best day, but
You like it when it's hot?
yeah, summertime here is nice.
Yeah, if you're from Atlanta and you're in Dallas, then of course you're gonna like the heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I
I'm from
can't-
LA. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I can't do the snow and stuff here.
No, it's no fun. No fun. How long have you been a pilot?
I've been with American since January,
Okay.
but I've been flying since around like 2019.
2019. Nice, cool. I know there's a huge pilot shortage, so did you just kind of jump on it and say this is the way to go? Very cool.
Demand is through the roof.
Yeah.
We're still struggling.
Really?
We've been in high demand for about 3-4 years now, and still nowhere where it needs to be, which is good. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. At least, yeah, they're keeping it working, so that's good. So what's the process? How long did it take you to be a pilot once you said this is what I want to do?
You guys gotta get your certificates through flight school,
Mhm.
which if you do it through like a university program, it takes about 4 years.
Okay.
I did it through like an accelerated course, so I did it 9 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then once you get your certificates, you have to get a certain amount of hours. So you flight instruct, or if you have your own plane, which I'm not that rich to buy a plane. So I flight instructed till I got 1,500 hours, and I applied to the airlines.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you flight instruct, and then you get 1,500 hours. So that's interesting. So even though you're not a pilot, you can instruct. Is it just practical, or is it
Those certificates are, it's like each, when you come to the airlines, you have to get another certificate.
Okay.
So like you get your like private instrument, multi instructor. There's like 7 certificates you get throughout your flight school, 7 exams you have to give.
Uh-huh.
And once you get that, you instruct, and then you come to the airlines and you get your airline transport pilot certificate, your ATP,
Okay.
and then you're good to go. So, which the airlines will pay for all your training and all that.
Oh, that's cool. Once they hire you on and say, okay, you've got these certifications, you now have to get the next step, and they'll pay for whatever the next step is. And airline transport, that's what they call what you're doing? Okay.
Yeah, that's the our certificate we have. It's like the same as a driver's license.
Sure.
So you have like all these certificates you get throughout your time.
Okay.
But yeah, they'll pay for that. But that's how they lock you down. Financially, they're like, yeah, we'll pay for it, but you got to stay with us for a few many years.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I know a lot of places will do that. I was talking to some people that do care for elderly, but like they're from the Philippines. So this company will say, you come, you get certified, and we'll make you a resident, and we'll pay for the residency and all that stuff, but you have to work with us for 3 years.
Yeah, that's how they even like they give out bonuses and stuff, these airlines, but every time you take it, it adds like 3 years to your contract.
Really?
Yeah, so I was like, I'm good.
Just keep the bonuses.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I was like, I don't want to be financially tied down to any of you guys.
Sure. And then what happens after you finish the contract? Does that mean then you can get hired by another airline?
You can leave whenever you want,
Uh-huh.
as long as you can pay back the bonus.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm trying to go to Delta as soon as I can.
Ah, how come Delta?
That's just home, Atlanta.
Oh,
and I
okay.
prefer Delta way over American.
Oh.
I came to American to get to Delta faster.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because
I
Delta's
gotcha.
very, when you're, I guess, top dog, it's kind of, they make it really hard to get into.
Sure.
And Delta loves to poach from their competitors.
So you're like, here you go. I
Yeah.
worked. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Hopefully America doesn't find out you're using.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much, I kind of just, kind of using American against themselves.
Sure. Well, you know, they fall into it for a reason. They pays out. They're getting what they need out of it. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even these, they're in demand for captains. So these guys who took the early retirement package due to COVID, like you can't fly past 65. It's the law. So there's guys who at like 62 took the early retirement, and then when the airlines started hiring again, people like Delta and American are paying these guys top dollar just for them to come fly for a year.
Yeah, wow.
It's
Just for a year. Yeah, because they just need anybody to do it. Wow. And so you fly for American, so I'm guessing that's the passenger side of it as well? Or?
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah. All passenger. Nice.
Yes, sir. So how long have you been in Chicago for?
Ooh, I've been here for 5 years so far, yeah.
You like it better than LA?
No, definitely not.
No?
No, not even a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm a California boy, born and raised. It's like where home is for me is LA. But my kid's mom is from here, and after we split up, she moved with my daughter. So I figure I work in tech, and I do this, so I'm like, whatever, I can do these from anywhere. So and I work in tech from home, so it's like I can just bring it with me. So I just took my job with me. I do it here. You know, I started getting into stand-up comedy while I'm out here, so I do stand-up, I do comedy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I really enjoy it.
You get the whole resume going. Huh?
See, yeah, you know, honestly, like if I didn't have a kid, I would be a pilot. Like I 100% would. Like I love it. I love flying. I love being in the air. I love like horsepower. I grew up fixing old muscle cars with my dad, so like I just love like that takeoff where you're going like 300 miles an hour. Like I just love that feeling. Yeah, I'm fascinated by it, and I love to travel. I want to go places. I want to see the world. I want to go everywhere. And so I totally would do it, but yeah, I gotta keep.
Yeah, that's one of the, I guess that's the perks is traveling, and you talk to any pilot, it's still like a kid when they're in the cockpit.
See?
It never gets old, like the landing and taking off.
Oh man, that's so cool.
But yeah, it's I guess the sacrifice is a lifestyle. Not a lot of people are willing to adjust with you or all that stuff. It's hard.
Exactly.
So much.
Yeah, and like again, yeah, I would love to do it if it was just me. No, you know, maybe in 10 years when my kid's 18 and if I don't have any other ones, then I'll do it. But it's not an option now.
Yeah, you should definitely get at least your private. See if that fulfills your shock of flying.
Really?
Yeah, get your private's license.
Okay.
That's pretty manageable for a lot of people.
Interesting. And that's really just the schooling part of it, right?
Yeah, that's you can get that in 2 months. That allows you to fly just like single engine planes for fun.
Really?
Yeah, private. Then obviously the more ratings you add on, the longer it takes. But if you just want the most basic, 2 months you're good to go.
Interesting. And then just maybe I'll find some buddies who will go in on a little Cessna or something like that.
I know a lot of people who, I don't know what they call it, but they all pitch in on one plane, so it's not too expensive.
Exactly.
You just trade off who flies what month.
Yeah, you just kind of say, hey, I need it for this day, that day, and you just order, but you all own it.
Yeah, and it's good. Cause, I mean, it's a good way to build hours if you do think about going for. You don't have to do airlines. You can do private.
Really?
Like fly private jets and all that stuff if you want to.
Interesting. Yeah. Like you could probably do that yourself because that's the first step, right? You're at a higher certification level than that.
Yeah, even to get to fly for like these private companies, you have to get an ATP.
Okay.
But those are the two paths people normally go. It's either the private sector or the commercial, which I'm in.
Sure.
Private gives you more flexibility. You can live at home, live wherever you want, but
interesting.
It's you're more of a servant, if that makes sense. You clean the plane, you get the beverages, you get bitched at by the celebrities and all that.
Right.
Here we just close the door. We let the flight attendants deal with everything.
Right, that's true. Yeah, you're here to fly. You're not here for any of that.
I'm not there to talk to passengers and make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah, no, yeah. You just get the one. This is your captain speaking. Everybody sit down, shut up. Thank you. Done.
Just get there from point A to point B.
Yeah. We're cruising altitude is this. We're good to go. Talk to you later. Done.
At the time, I'm like, I think what I read is completely wrong because I'm like, I think I just read the airport that I'm going to for like my third leg.
Oh no!
Nobody realizes anything.
No, yeah, you can barely understand it anyways half the time. Especially, I'm not going to say American, but with some airlines, that speaker does not. Yeah, it's mostly gibberish.
That's American for you.
Yeah, I told because I had to do some recent flying for Lost in the Family, and so I was like, I had to fly out to California like 4 times, and I flew American, and I was like one time, and I was like, the flight got grounded in St. Louis on the way to Illinois, on the way to O'Hare, and because like a passenger freaked out. And then on the way out, there was like a whole other thing, and I was just like, American Airlines is like the Walmart of the sky. Like
out of the big 3, United, American, Delta. Yeah, Delta's number 1. American, United, pretty similar.
Sure, but, I like United, and I'm probably gonna go for like them to rack up points. But Delta, I heard services the most. That was the thing, is I wanted to get a credit card to like build up the miles.
Yep.
On what place I could go to the most places from, what airline services the most. And I think Delta is like the number one.
Yeah, Delta's got the best customer service for sure.
Really?
And, like on time, never being late.
Wow.
I think American has the most domestic international destinations. American's the biggest fleet
Really?
in the world. I think.
Wow. I did not know that. I thought it was United had the most destinations.
I think it might be pretty similar.
Sure.
But I understand, like American, we've had so many delays. It's ridiculous.
Oh, no.
Even when I fly as a passenger on American, it's every flight I'm always delayed.
Wow.
Even though like Dallas is our main hub headquarters, and it's still a mess.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what their issue is.
Maybe I'll look into Delta again. I might have to, I haven't got the card yet, so I haven't decided on which one.
Yeah, how would
but
you?
maybe
I'm
I'll-
like being biased because I'm from Atlanta and I've grown up my whole life with Delta.
Sure, but because you're a pilot, so you
Yeah.
would know this is what you'd recommend. So
100%.
yeah, and honestly, being on time and all that stuff, which I haven't had any issues with flight delays, but I imagine if they were to be a thing, they're less likely with Delta based on what you're saying. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. What I love is how like we're not even mentioning Southwest, we're not even talking about it. Like, yeah, right. Yeah, or Spirit.
Southwest isn't like, I don't know, I've never flown. I've literally only flown the big three. I've never
okay.
been Frontier, Spirit, Southwest.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, and that makes sense. The big three really are the better ones. They're going to get you there. I remember for the holidays, Southwest had this big kerfluffle where they shipped people's luggage to the wrong locations.
Yep.
Like a ton of it, and their systems were down, and there were all these issues. And then what I love is that Saturday Night Live said the best thing they could. They made a joke. They're like, listen, we're Southwest. We lost your stuff, and that's on us. But also, isn't it kind of on you? You should have known better than the flips.
Very true.
Yeah, and I was just like, that's the joke, man. Yeah.
The issue with them is the software. Everything they do is over phone.
Mm-hmm.
Scheduling, dispatching is all over phone.
Whoa.
Every
okay.
other airline does digital, like apps
Yeah.
and stuff. So when
Yeah.
the phones crashed on the holidays, their entire pretty much company just got jammed.
I
They're
had
very
no
old
idea.
school.
Wow, that's a ridiculous way to do. As again, I'm an IT guy, so I'm just like phones. Like what?
Yeah, we use
Wow.
even American uses we use something called Dex.
Okay.
And it is like 90s, like late 80s. It's horrible.
Wow.
It's like coding, literally. Like I had to learn coding and training. I was like, I thought I was here to fly.
Yeah, but they're like, no, here's
Yeah,
the
like every day I got to get on that and do all the nonsense. But
Oh well, you have to put in the flight plans. You have to program those.
well,
and say,
that we
"Here's
have
where we're
apps.
going."
Like this is more for like bidding our monthly schedule. Like if we need a hotel, more on the what do you say, like personal side.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's very like there's certain codes you have to put in. I have like a 10-page document of codes I have to look at every single time.
Oh man, that sounds
horrible.
annoying. Yeah. Yeah, you just wanted to fly. What's that all about?
Yeah.
So is that like if you're say here where you're in Chicago where you were here for the month, did you have to set up all of your arrangements for like where you're going to stay
No,
and all
that
that? Okay.
in that instance they always give us hotels. They give me a whole hotel for the month. But say like I'm based in Dallas, but if I want to pick up a trip out of Miami, I'll have to use a hotel.
Okay.
So I have to like put it in the system or call them, stuff like that. Like if I'm sick or if I'm updating my passport, I got to put all these codes.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't like to deal with it at all.
No, I get it. That makes sense. So if you weren't a pilot, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I forget that. I gotta ask a lot. Honestly, I don't know. It's all like I can't do a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do a 9 to 5. That was the whole reason I became a pilot. I don't know. Maybe something with history.
History.
Lame as that sounds.
Who knows? So do you like history? Do you like?
Yeah, I
the
like
way
certain
things-
periods, like World War II, Vietnam. I was like watching documentaries and stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
Probably something similar to that.
Sure.
So, what made you get into comedy?
Oh, what made me get into comedy? Bad parents, I guess. No, sorry, Mom.
Goes for everybody.
No, yeah, no. I would say the reason why I got into it is I just really liked. I like making people laugh. I like making people feel good. That's something I just really enjoy doing. It seems like a lot of the personality, a lot of the way I look at stuff, a lot of the way that I approach things seemed very comedic. I'm always trying to, like, if I'm stuck interacting with somebody, like trying to make people laugh, trying to win them over. That's just like a part of who I am,
Yeah.
a character. So I really enjoy that. And I actually, the major reason was like doing this when I was living in the Bay Area. I would just have conversations with people, and they were like, this was so great, like you should do this, you should do comedy, you should make people laugh, like this is like you are really good at it. So I was like, well, maybe I could.
Yeah.
And that was really it. So I moved from the Bay Area to Chicago, and I just said, all right, why don't I get to it, and start trying. And so I just have started trying since moving out here. But I did stop for all of COVID because I didn't want to get COVID and get my daughter sick.
Yeah.
But she gave me COVID 4 times. So,
Oh, no.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll get started again. So yeah, I just started doing all this stuff again in February.
So how does that process work? Do you spend time like writing and creating stuff, or is it kind of spontaneous?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So I have several apps, and I email to myself, and then little voice recording apps, and you just kind of think about stuff, and as you're going, you just think, oh, this is a funny interaction, this is a funny statement, here's a funny idea, and you'll email it to yourself, and then I always put little tags in them so I know what to look up, and then I can look up the tags and go, okay, here's different things I have about that. Let's read the punchline. Can I rewrite it? Can I say something funnier? And then since I'm a single guy, I'll go on first dates and I'll like test new material on first dates.
Oh, I bet you have the best first dates.
No, I never get a second one, so probably not. I think I'm not very funny, But yeah, so yeah, I do all right, and it's nice to have that at least as an option. It's okay, test out this and see if it gets a laugh. And then from that, you just go on stage. I'm very much not famous, so I do open mics a lot, where I'll just go and I'll try stuff out, try the things that I've written, and if that gets a laugh, I'll say, okay, great, this got a laugh. Let's see if I can do it again. Let's see if I can get a laugh, or if there's a way I can tweak it or refine it or add a word or change a word or remove a word. And then kind of go from there. That's really the process. Comedy is the only art form that you require the audience to build. You actually make it with somebody else.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that's very unique about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
So how far do you go with the jokes? Do you have anything that's off limits, like politics?
That's a great question. Do I have limits? I don't.
So I feel, to me, like when I watch on YouTube, I'm like, the more they go down, like it's better.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. And it just depends on how you're doing it, right? Like somebody like Bill Burr, right? One of the best comics out there. He's not gonna shy away from a subject. He's gonna talk about it and he's gonna make a joke about it, but it's gonna be something poignant. You're gonna walk away from going, yeah, I like that philosophy. That's a great point. That's added to this part of it. So I'll definitely do that. I think some things can be too easy to get a laugh, like racial humor can be too easy nowadays, which to me it's like, okay, this is a little campy.
Race, gender.
Right. See, and so those are the things that are, I'm finding are just, I feel like they're played out. There's really not a lot you could do to contribute in that aspect. And then it's, again, because it's what's the audience like? What are they laughing at? What's in their purview? That's where you're kind of having to think with that, because there's like comedians getting canceled is a thing, but it's like, to me it's like, this is the flow of nature, right? Humans are evolving, people are going, time is going, so our viewpoints are going to be changing on things, just like how our grandparents would say things now that we're like, Grandma, you can't say that, that's horrible, what are you doing? It's the same thing. Hey, comedian, you can't say that anymore. It's just not where people are.
But don't you think
at.
people are getting too sensitive with the cancel? So, I mean, like as a like a comedy person, that's the job, is to get a laugh, right? You're gonna push the boundaries.
Absolutely.
You can't just kind of stay in a box. And what's the point?
Absolutely. And that's where I'm actually trying to work on that joke, where I'm trying to say, all these comedians think that you can't make jokes anymore, and you just can't say anything because it's blasé, it's too taboo. But they weren't making a joke. It wasn't a joke, and that's really it. You have to be able to read the audience, and if 80 out of the 100 people in the room are saying that's not funny to me, it's not a funny joke.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to read the audience, read the room, and read what's going on in society to be able to comment on it. And that's where the issue is. And I think you're right. I personally don't have any limit. A person can say whatever they want to say. They can make whatever jokes they want to say. But then it's like, I know as a comedian, I know this stuff that I'm saying is the stuff that's rattling around inside my head. So if somebody's going on making all these racist jokes, I'm just like, what's actually rattling on inside your head? Why is this occurring to you to make it a joke? Why is this the thing you're constantly saying? So it's a back and forth. I don't know. I think it could be. I'm not a particularly sensitive person, but I
these days so many people are.
Exactly.
But it makes sense. Like even with, I know Chappelle got kind of under fire for all the transgender jokes, and he doesn't stop, which I think is hilarious.
Right.
But I think if you make the joke with actually the substance towards society instead of just making a joke for the sake of it,
exactly,
it maybe lands differently.
Right. Yeah. And that's part of it. That's really the way I think of it. You know, he did make a lot of trans jokes, and there were jokes about trans, and then he said, "Oh, I have a friend," and all this stuff, which I think the friend wasn't even real. But and which is the thing, like you looked it up and it was like this didn't go quite the way he said it did. But at the end of the day, I also there's a great comedian like Duncan Trussell who said something really great. He says, if you're going to I'm ruining the phrase, what is it called? What's that house that you go to at a fair? The crazy house, the weird house, what is it called?
Like the mirror one or just the fun house?
Yeah, right, the fun house. Yeah, if you go to the fun house, you can't get mad at the mirror for making you look stupid. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. You're at a comedy show. You're there. You're the comedian is going to say what they're going to do. They're going to be an idiot. They're going to maybe make you look stupid or say something offensive. That's part of what they're doing. That is part of what they're doing. So I don't know, but I think that it falls on the responsibility of the comedian to then say, okay, did this get a laugh? Did this get the laugh I wanted it to get? And then, is this a commentary on society? Is this something that's going to get a laugh in any room? A person I really respect, who had a great line, is Jay Leno. He said, look, you either have 5 minutes that can kill in any room, in any place in the world that's going to get a laugh for 5 minutes, or you don't have any time at all. And that's exactly it. Dave Chappelle had a Netflix venue, and he's very funny, but is that a set? Could he have taken that routine and done it across the country the way most comedians have to build it up? And would he have gotten the laugh? And is that the comedy set that he would have come up with by the end of it? And I honestly don't know. I don't know if that's what he would have
I guess
done.
when you get such a big following, it's kind of, you attract a certain crowd, right?
Exactly. That's very true. And that is part of comedy. You're making your crowd. You're finding the people that like your stuff, that like your comedy. They're going to come out and see you every time you're in town. And so that can be a bubble that you live in. Yeah.
So do you get a good sense of the room? Like, do you read it well when you go in, or is it kind of always different in Chicago?
Well, because I'm still an open micer, most of the people that are in the audience are other comedians that are just getting started as well. So I can get laughs from people. I can get laughs from the handful of people that are there, if they are there because it's a bar. But it's more likely that there's comedians. And so comedians, 9 times out of 10, the way a comedian laughs is they go, "That's funny. That's really funny," and that's it. that's a laugh. So
they're there to take notes and stuff. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And they're there because they've got 5 minutes either about to, or they just did it, and that's it. They're, most of the times they do their 5 minutes and they leave. So the guys that are watching me perform are the guys that are going to have to go up after. And so like I had a couple of times where like the best compliment I could have got from that crowd was when another comedian came up and was just like, I need to write more. That was too, I can't follow. And so like that was great. I was like, nice. Like I took that as a compliment. But it's reading comedic rooms is a little different than reading room, but it's still an ability, it's still a talent. I always say like that's part of that is hypervigilance just from childhood. You just learn how to like the other shoe's gonna drop, how's this person gonna react. You gotta read the moments and how they are, and as a comedian you can you expand that to a whole room of people and getting a whole vibe for it. I'm still not good at it, but
I guess it just takes time, right?
Exactly. That's part of the work. That's part of the work. And what is it, 10 years to, obviously not 10 years to be a pilot, but 10 years to be a comedian is usually about that good.
I've never been to a comedy show. I've been wanting to go, but I just never really had the time.
Oh man, you're right by Zany's over here by O'Hare.
Zany's? Okay.
There's a ton of stuff. You could walk to it almost from where you're at. They're a really well-known comedy club in downtown Chicago. There's a ton more. But yeah, over by O'Hare, Zany's is a big comedy club right there. Ton of great restaurants right by there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good time. And there's a lot of comedians that go out there that are like well known.
Yeah, I need to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've been thinking about going. Dallas isn't that far from Austin. I think Joe Rogan does.
He does,
stand up in Austin.
Yeah, he just opened a comedy club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that venue is packed. Get tickets 2 weeks before you go. or if they're even
Is
a bit, you
Joe,
might
is
need
he
to go.
funny though? I've never seen his comedy.
Oh, he's
I've seen his
hilarious.
podcast.
Yeah, he's super funny. He actually really is very, very, very funny. I love his stand-up because he talks a lot about space, a lot about people, a lot about philosophy, a lot about history. Really cool, zany, out-of-the-world stuff. So it's really cool. And his podcast, I listen to it when he has comedians on.
Yeah.
Which he does a lot. He usually interviews comedians, which I really like. So I'll check it out when he's doing that.
Yeah, I know they've tried to cancel him a few times, but I think his following is just so big.
Exactly.
It's just not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. But that's because he's built it. He's been doing podcasts for like 15 years or something obscene like that. It's crazy how long he's been doing it. And that's going to do exactly that. That's going to make it to where he has a following. There's people that like to hear what he has to hear and say.
Yeah.
That's it. And he does get really interesting people on, so I think that's part of it too.
You know, I've always been a big fan of comedy because I don't know, in my like workplace, people take life too seriously.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always felt like pilots and flight attendants have had to be. You are kind of comedic. You have to put people at ease. You have to make people feel okay, and that is part of comedy. You're going up there and you're saying, hey, come with me on this mental journey I'm about to take you on. Follow me through this bit, follow me through this premise and this setup, and then I'm going to get you the punchline after. And you as a pilot, you're saying, trust me, I'm going to land us. We'll be okay. We're going to be fine.
Me with your life.
Yeah, right?
Even though you've never met me before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my kid, she was afraid of flying, but I was like, getting in a car is the most dangerous thing you could do.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot more dangerous than flying.
Way more dangerous. Yeah, flights are pretty easy. I know they're not as automated as people would say they are, but to a degree, once you're up there, it's kind of hard to come down unless you really want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put you through the training to make sure you know what you're doing.
And that's great, yeah. I think people should get that for driver's ed. That would probably make a lot of safer roads, right?
Driving is... It's like I've gotten worse at driving by the day since I started flying. I don't know why.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I drive a truck and I still have problem backing it in without the camera. It's like this gets worse and worse.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, this thing has that backup camera, and my last car had that backup camera, and I just rely on that now. I don't even
Seriously,
try
you
to
don't
think about
bother looking back at this point.
Yeah, I don't. I'm staring at this thing because this looks better than me looking back. Why would I even do it? Yeah, the other way. No way, man. Yeah. We're gonna avoid all of this traffic here.
Is the traffic ever good here?
Well,
every time I try to go downtown, it's always like this.
Yes. So the reason it's like this is because they're doing a bunch of construction on this highway. So it's about to go to where 2 of the lanes are shut down, and that's why it's so bad. And that's right around here. And then you see how it kind of opens up a little bit.
And this is the only highway that goes downtown to O'Hare?
This is the only one downtown to O'Hare. As you can see, that's it. It's just this one. You can go around if you want to take a longer cruise. We'll do that. But the most direct is this 90 to there. Unfortunately, Uber totally hasn't updated to navigate around this traffic. But there's ways around. I was very lucky in I picked up this group of women that are from here. They grew up here, and I picked them up by O'Hare. They're like, I got you. Do this, do this, do this. I was like, all right, cool. So now you and I are gonna.
Yeah, I stopped using I started using Waze.
Yeah.
That usually updates a lot quicker, but I don't know if it's any faster.
Waze, I personally, if I'm driving on personally driving, I like Waze. It's better. Uber, if I'm in downtown trying to get somewhere, Uber Maps, terrible. I'll get lost.
Really?
It doesn't know where I'm at. It thinks I'm in different areas. It gets lost. So what I have to do is I have to take the destination and put it into Waze, and then we'll get there. Because
so Uber doesn't require to have this open. You can use Waze or whatever you want to get.
Technically, I think there is a way to push it out to Waze, but for my CarPlay, my car won't show it here or something. There's some weird thing like that. Yeah, but there is a way you can navigate. Say use Waze for navigation, and I might switch to that to have it be a little better.
So how is being Uber here in Chicago? You got any sketchy people?
I'm pretty fortunate in 2 things. One, I'm 6'3", so
nobody's gonna try anything.
Yeah, nobody's gonna try anything for the most part. The other thing is I only drive during the day. I don't drive after 10 p.m. So I'm just doing it for now during the day. So I haven't had any problems. I also didn't have any problems when I lived in the Bay Area and I was doing this there. like the people that I've had in the car, it really hasn't been any issues. I haven't had too many problems.
I guess it depends on which area too, right? Don't go south side or anything.
Yeah, and again, I will go south side, and so like that will happen. I'll say the worst that occurred was one person stole one of my chargers.
That's a blessing, I guess. That's
yeah,
the worst thing.
right. So I'm like, really? I was like, okay, fine. I had another one in the car. I already planned for this, so here we are. Fine. And at the end of the day, I'm such a hippie. I'm just like, they must have just needed it. So fine. Like, all right, cool. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's a $10 charger, so it's fine. It is more expensive now, but whatever.
As everything is.
Exactly. Yeah. Inflation. But yeah. And then, so yeah, I've been in Southside, and that's the thing. If it's nighttime, I'm not going to be picking people up. Once the sun sets in Southside, I'm out of Southside. Yeah.
I don't know if I wonder if a lot of Uber drivers go down there at night.
And you know what? They'll tell you that they don't. Like, they just flat out are like, after 6 p.m., people won't in the summertime. And that's the thing about Chicago. Once it starts getting hot, the crime goes through the roof in
Really?
Chicago. Yeah, in the winter, it's reduced in the winter by a lot. So, Southside summertime, if it's hot out at night, no Uber drivers going down there. They're just not going to do it.
Is the crime as bad as the media says here? I know downtown. I've been a few times downtown, and downtown looks fine.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. The crime is never as bad as the media says it is. I've talked to people who come to visit America from other countries, and they think they need to wear a bulletproof vest just to walk around America. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's not really it. South side, there is bad crime. West side, there is bad crime. But is it to the extreme level that people are worried about? Not really. It's really not that bad. Downtown is pretty decent if you're there during the day. If you're there at night, it just depends on how populated you are. There's some areas where it's going to be maybe a little worse than others, but it's in the long run, it's really not too bad. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, they gave me the option of either Dallas or Chicago, and I feel like the crime was overblown. To me, I chose Dallas because I just don't like the cold, and the taxes here are insane.
Sure. Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, Dallas is pretty good on income tax and state tax, right? It's like non-existent. Yeah.
Similar tax laws to Florida.
Right. That's pretty decent.
The cost of living here, especially like being single and stuff, it's like, I'm good. I love that.
Man, maybe I should go to Dallas.
Dallas is nice. It's definitely not nearly as big and stuff to do as Chicago, but if you enjoy weather and like to raise a family, Dallas is probably the best city. It's mainly suburbs. That's what makes up the entire city.
Sure. Yeah, I've been to Dallas Fort Worth area. I got sent out there for some tech stuff, so I went out there. I know you got an In-N-Out burger, which is cool because of the California. And there's a Portillo's now, so that's nice too. But and then barbecue. I love barbecue, so like that's I should probably just be a Texan, I guess.
Yeah, the food's good, but man, like I went to every restaurant I've been to here. I've never had bad food. Yeah, you can just walk into any place; it's always good. It's crazy. Yeah, like Dallas is good for Tex-Mex and barbecue, but that's probably the extent.
Okay, you're not gonna have good Italian food there. You're not gonna have good sushi or anything like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, downtown you will, but outside,
not so much. So what do you like to do in Dallas for your free time then? What's some of your hobbies?
I played basketball growing up, even like all of it throughout college. So mainly just basketball, working out, but I'm so busy with this job. Wow. I don't get time to do anything really.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's not like my off days are like during the weekdays.
Okay.
I don't really get weekends off.
Wow.
Which I like. So whenever I gotta go do errands and stuff, grocery store, it's just dead.
Yes.
Get in, get out.
I prefer it during the week for that reason.
Yeah, going out on the weekends is just, I'm kind of past that point.
Absolutely. Oh, that makes sense. So do they have you work like 12-hour, 16-hour days, or is it more 4 hours 2 times? Like how do the flights?
Yeah, we can't fly more than 10 hours, like in the plane.
Okay.
And we can't be like, our duty day can't be more than 14 hours a day.
Okay.
So like, yeah, if we have like an early morning start, like 6, we'll be done by like 4.
Okay.
Lately I've been on call, so I'll just be at home. But my seniority is so high that I don't get called.
Oh wow.
They start from the bottom of the list, so if you just got hired, they'll call you before they call somebody who's been there for like 2 years.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So if I'm on call, I know I'm not going to get called in, so I'll just go and do my own thing during the day.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but I do, like, I'll pick up a line here and there every month if I actually want to work and fly.
Sure. Okay.
Then I have a set schedule of like where I'm going the whole month.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you're like, I know I'll be here,
Yeah.
I'll be there, I'll be here, I'll be there, like
Yeah.
back and forth type of thing. Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
being on call is nice, but there's situations where they'll call you and it's just everything is so quick. Like, oh, you're going to Chicago. Here's your crew. Oh, the weather's bad. Figure this out. I'm like, thanks.
Oh man, bummer. What part of it, other than like, what part of it do you, as a pilot, take on? Like from, I guess, beginning to end. They tell you who the crew is going to be. They tell you
Yeah,
who
we
that's
do
going to
the.
be.
Honestly, everything is done for us.
Okay.
We get paid. Everything's on the iPads. They send us a release, which is your route, fuel, what's wrong with the plane, the entire crew, everything.
Okay.
We're in charge of making the call to go. We're in charge of getting more fuel on board if we need, taking it off. Emergencies, kicking people off on. Yeah. Like I said, like we're there when stuff goes wrong.
Sure.
That's really our job.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty much done for us.
Nice. Okay.
And people say it's automated, which it is. A lot of the plane flies itself, but again, you have to tell the plane what to do.
Sure. You have to. Yeah.
You can tell the plane to run into a mountain if you want, and it'll do it.
It'll do
So
it
you
well.
at the end of the day, you're still flying the plane.
I get it.
You're
I
telling
get
it what to do.
Sure. Yeah. You're gonna say, okay, here's takeoff. Here's where
Yeah,
we're
like
gonna go. Here's
turn
where we're
left,
gonna
turn right, all this stuff.
Sure. You're not like on the steering
Yeah.
wheel doing it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Sure. That's pretty cool.
If I have like a short hop, like an hour and a half, I'll fly the whole thing. But if it's like a long flight, if we're going international, I'm not really going to
Sure.
fly the whole thing.
Yeah. So have you gotten to like go to any cool places to be like, hey, I'm gonna fly there, I'm gonna hang out for a week, and then
Yeah, I've been to like we go to Montreal, Toronto, Monterey, Mexico, Cabo,
sure.
a place like that. The Keys, the Bahamas, those are all nice.
Yeah.
We go to El Paso, which is pretty, but I guess a little sketchy because you're so close to Juarez and the border.
Right. Yeah. So
It's like
could
head of
be-
the cartel. We go to Sinaloa, which is
Sure.
cartel motherland, pretty much.
Oh really? Oh man. Wow.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So that sounds like a pretty decent amount of options. For sure.
Sometimes you'll have nice layovers. Sometimes you'll be in like Fargo, North Dakota, or like it's middle of nowhere.
Right.
Those
right.
are not so fun.
Sure. You're just kind of stuck there doing it. Is it usually where like you'll fly somewhere, sleep there for the night, and then fly out?
No, we'll do like tomorrow. I have like 4 legs.
Okay.
It's like here in Cleveland, back to Chicago, then to Des Moines for the night. So yeah, some days it'll be 1 leg layover. Some days it'll be a bunch. If
Yeah.
like I prefer the quick turns.
Yeah.
I'll do like a 3-hour flight from Dallas and come back the same day.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be ideal for sure. But
Layovers are fun, but it really depends on the crew. And I don't know. I've had good crew and I've had bad crew.
interesting.
The pilots and the flight attendants, you just it's hit or miss.
Huh. I guess that makes sense. It's all people all around. So
Yeah. Like you'll get I prefer like we call them mom flight attendants because they're the older ones. They'll take care of you. They'll bring you the meals, pack you waters and all that.
Oh yeah.
Then you get like these recent college graduate ones who are just they're there for the partying on the layovers. Then they get too drunk and you got to babysit them, or then they do stuff they shouldn't do. That's not too fun.
Sure. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. I actually had a car full of flight attendants from United, and they were California transplants. But yeah, they all seemed very young.
Yeah.
And like they were really excited, but I was like, y'all are living in Chicago. Just so you know, you messed up. And they're like, yeah, because they were from California. They're like, it's gonna be nice, right? I was like, no, it'll never.
Maybe for like 3 months.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. They're like, I'm doing this for a while, and then I'm out of
Yeah.
here. Hopefully, I'll move somewhere else. But still be a flight attendant.
Yeah, a lot of them are. Most of them are good, but you get some of them that are just. They're not really there for the job, which I get.
Sure.
It's not like there's not really you don't move up the ladder as a flight attendant really.
Okay.
But they're just there to visit the cool cities, have fun, then leave after a year.
Just to say I did it, to sign up, say I did it.
A lot of them will like try to lock down a pilot, vice versa. It's crazy, man. The stories I can share, the games that go on between pilots and flight attendants.
Really?
Insane. Yes.
Oh, wow. I guess that makes sense. That's like football players and the cheerleader, the flight attendant and the pilot is the way that works.
Yeah, the latest thing I heard is they have like this, they literally, at least Dallas, the base flight attendants have an Excel sheet for the amount of married pilots they're able to turn.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
And it's like, I don't know, I'm like, that is horrible.
Yes, it is.
That's what y'all are doing in your jobs?
Right. Yeah, it is. I was reading this really great book called Why Men Behave Badly, and it talks about humans, it's men as well, but humans as a whole, and mating as a ritual. If you look at people as animals, not so much as like more than that, right? But like, what's the animalistic desire? Because that's what it is. That's what procreation is. That's what sex is animal activity. And the rates of cheating from men and women are equal. It happens with both, and it's because that's just what humans do. That's why there's so many of us. We just all sleep together. It's just what we do.
And it's like, you can't really stop it. It's just human nature, right?
Exactly.
Like and I get it, like there's professions where you got to put rules in place and standards and reputations, but it's going to get broken.
Exactly.
You can't. As horrible as it sounds, it's like, how much of it can you sweep under the rug?
Right.
That's really all you can do.
And that's it, right? That's all. It's like, and so I don't know. I work in, obviously, the office job tech world. It's very much like, here's HR stance, don't date anybody you work with, don't talk to anybody you work with unless it's professional, blah, 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 which I get it, that's great, I'm all for that. But they try and take away the human nature of the human resource, which it turns out this is what people do, this is what they've always done.
I guess like 9 to 5 jobs is a little bit more manageable, but when your job is to live on the road, the lines get blurred very quick.
Exactly.
Very quick.
And I think there's something to that, right? You're out there, you're alone.
Yeah.
You need some comfort. You need some physical interaction, intimacy. To me, it seems perfectly natural that something like that would occur. But then again, if a guy's got a wedding ring on, he's making a promise that obviously he's not keeping. I think that's the issue.
And they're both at fault, right? It's not a one-way street.
And as somebody who may or may not have been the other man a couple of times, I'm not the one that made any vows. You know what I mean? I'm not the one who made the promise, but I get it. It is still kind of a thing you're not supposed to do to a degree.
Yeah, it's even during my interview, I remember one of the first questions they asked me was like, "Are you married?" I was like, "No." They're like, "All right, no more questions."
All right, we can skip all these then.
Thanks.
Really? Do they prefer married pilots?
No, they just, because like when you say that, yes, you're married, then they start going down the rabbit hole of like, oh, in this instance, what would you do? And they're not going to not give you the job for that. It's just for their own sake. I think they keep track of, all right, keep eye on this guy, blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
Because I got an offer from Atlas, which is like a cargo freight airline, and they had the highest divorce rate out of any company. Not just in the airlines.
Whoa.
Just anyone.
Any company at all. Highest divorce rate.
Highest divorce rate. And I was like, and I did all my interviews just for experience. Like, I knew I wasn't going to work for them.
Okay.
I just asked them, I was like, what's the lifestyle like? They're like, well, you're on the road for like 20 days and you're home for like maybe 10.
Ooh.
Or it might be 28 days and you're home for 14.
Sure.
I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough.
And these cargo pilots, they have they die the youngest.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of heart attacks around like 60. They get paid the most for sure.
Sure.
But they never get to really live long enough to enjoy all that.
That's so interesting. Is it just because, I guess, if you're up in the air, you're sitting so much, you're not moving, and you're probably eating a lot?
Yeah. So. The sitting down, and then the cargo, you're doing long hauls, like 14-hour flights. So your sleep schedule is all messed up. You're not getting full rest, any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's 100% a big deal. Yeah, being able to sleep. Shift work is a number one killer, so that makes sense that's the same, essentially that.
I mean, I get jet lagged if I'm just going from Dallas to like LA. Like, I can imagine going like Dallas to Tokyo,
Right.
like multiple times every 2 weeks. Like,
Oh man. Yeah, I could. Yeah, that would be definitely an issue. Like, well, the sun was up when I left. It's up now, and it's the next day. I can't go to sleep, so here we go. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I flew from Amsterdam to Cape Town once,
Oh wow.
and it's in the same time zone because it's literally just.
Oh
on.
really? Okay.
We took off at like 7 in the morning, and like it was just weird because like the sun is not moving. Like it is just sticking with us
Wow.
this entire time.
That's so interesting. That is pretty cool. Yeah, see, and I would be so fascinated because you're above the clouds. You're just got like a direct line to what the sky's doing. Do you get to see all the stars and everything? I imagine it.
Yeah, on a clear night we will.
Sure.
During the day, like it's black out in the cockpit. We'll stick all the newspapers, everything. Like we don't even want to look outside.
Really?
Yeah, it's way too bright.
Oh,
Like,
okay, sure.
Like the
that
flight
makes
attendants will come and open the door and be like, "Are you guys okay?" Because it's like literally pitch black.
Wow. Yeah, because I guess you don't really need to see out the window that much, as you go off of the instruments and the pressure and
Yeah.
what's around in that way.
And a lot of people ask, I was like, "Well, don't you have to see outside?" I was like, "If I have to look outside, it is too late at that point. Like, we are screwed."
if I got to look outside, it's to see how long I've got.
Yeah, I was
That's
like, it is too late at that point.
Oh no, that's so funny. Wow. What's something that surprised you going into learning to be a pilot, learning how to fly? What's something that you were like, oh, I had no idea that it was like this?
The amount of book work. Flying is easy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you still have to be good at. They call it stick and rudder skills, but the book work and studying is probably 80%.
Really?
Yeah, because you're doing a lot. You're learning the systems of the plane. You're learning how weather works. Like not just is it raining. Like you're learning how fronts move, pressure systems, troughs, ridges, all that stuff.
Sure.
Then the legality point of it, like I don't want to. Sure, like the airline can schedule me by mistake to fly more than I'm required to, but it's my certificates that are getting taken away.
Oh no.
So then you gotta learn like the aviation law aspect of it.
Sure.
Yeah, so it kind of takes a little bit from everything.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So you have to manage it. They'll book you. They'll overbook you, but you have to say, I can't.
They won't really try. It's very rare that it happens, but
Uh-huh.
you have to monitor it.
I gotcha.
Because we'll have FAA check airmen on the flight deck with us randomly
Okay.
to make sure how we're doing, and if they figure out, oh, you're like over your legal limit and stuff, then it's just a whole ordeal.
Sure. I imagine that's a lot like OSHA, where they'll have a compliance guy just kind of checking things randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So it's a lot of book learning. That might not do well to me. All right, that's
Yeah, like it's called a check ride, like to get your certificate. There's a oral portion, which is like the book interview part, and then the flight.
Gotcha.
So each check ride, you have to do like interview, then you have to do the flight.
Gotcha. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, to get the instructor check ride, it took 8 hours.
Oh wow.
It was a 5-hour oral and then a 3-hour flight.
Wow.
That was miserable.
And that's like a driving test, but a 3-hour driving test?
Yeah, and then the interview was like, they're like, all right, cool, I know that you know your stuff, now I want you to teach me everything.
Ooh.
So they'll pick random subjects, and you have to get on the board and draw out everything, do the math into it. It's just like, God.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to draw the engine, landing gear, and electrical unit for my aircraft.
Wow.
It's like, dude, I get that I need to know this, but I do not need to be drawing this stuff. This
Right.
is not my job.
Yeah. It's already drawn. There's
like,
an instruction manual. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, and so you were able to essentially say, this is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to drop out. That's cool. And so you have to know a lot about it. Right?
Yeah, and it depends. Like where I went to school, it was very depth, like Auburn.
Uh-huh.
I could like literally tell you how to pick that engine apart. Like I felt good enough to be the mechanic. And then you go to some, like I found with some pilots who don't know anything. It's not their fault. It's just the place they learned was not in depth.
Sure. And are they maybe working on different planes than they were when they started too?
Yeah.
So even if they did get that training, it didn't transfer to this new plane. Sure, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because I was a state instructor. Like I would give check rides to students, so I had to know my stuff. So I would sign off on them. Like, all right, because if they flew and something happened, the FAA is going to come hunting for me.
Really?
My name is on their certificate.
Sure, that makes sense.
So like, depending on what your position is, you have to know more extensive knowledge.
Sure.
Yeah, so as you can tell, flying is not all that glamorous.
You're really ruining my,
yeah, sorry to
my
ruin your dreams.
man. It does still sound really cool, yeah, but the book learning, that's the whole reason I'm a comedian, man.
See, I feel like comedians, that's more entertaining though, I feel like.
Sure.
It's light on the heart. People are happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lot more. That's a better way, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna make the joke. It's like, yeah, nobody dies doing comedy. There's nobody's died from it, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's true. But nobody's died on any of your flights, so.
Yeah, it's
you're good too. Yeah.
But I have like a very dark sense of humor.
Uh-huh.
Like every law that's written in aviation is written in blood.
Oh,
unfortunately,
yeah.
right? They don't change anything until something happens.
Exactly. It's 100% right. Yep. Yeah, union laws is the same thing. OSHA laws the same thing. That's exactly it. I mean, that's why you have to wear seatbelts. Okay, that's why kids have car seats. Like they learn that all those things the hard way.
You can't blame them, right? You don't know what's wrong until it goes wrong.
Exactly. That's why we have, airbags. These cars did not used to have that. I was in the 50s. They're like, just put your kid on the floor over here. Like there was one where they had that little basket out the window. Put your kid out the window. They'll love it. It's gonna be great. Go for it.
I know. Yeah. It was like a month ago. I was flying it was a mom and a son who were sitting next to me. And he was just like picking my brains. He was like a high school kid. He was picking my brains about flying. He was like, "Do y'all have airbags up there?" I was like, in the nicest way, I was like, "What is an airbag gonna do for us?"
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, no.
He's like, "Do you guys have parachutes?" I was like, "Bro, to send 300 people off a plane.
Yeah.
We ain't got time for that."
You just don't. There's no way. Yeah. No, and that's really it. It's like you hope for a water landing, I guess. That's really it. But if not, then maybe not so much. Yeah. That's hilarious. Well, who knows? Maybe it'll get there. I know Uber in some places is looking to do helicopter-based flights, like local runs, and so they're like Uber for helicopters is the thing they were thinking about doing.
God, I wonder how much that's gonna be.
Right, it's probably not gonna be cheap, but yeah, right. I figure if you're even thinking to that, you're probably can afford it anyway.
Yeah, that's good luck getting that past the FAA.
Yeah. Oh, is that?
Yeah, FAA is not gonna allow that stuff.
Really?
No, there's too much air traffic to just send up Uber, I guess, helicopters around.
Right, or they probably have to keep them at a certain height level to say, okay, you're on here, and that's it. Because airspace control is such an interesting thing. Like I was looking at, because I have a friend who's starting to be a pilot. He's going from tech to that, and so he showed me. He's like, this is all the lines, like where they go, and like here's where the air travel, and you can hop onto a jet, an air current, and follow that, and here's where it'll take you, and then you can create a path from that. And that's was the interesting thing is like air traffic control is exactly that. It's traffic in the air. It's which
that's
is so
the crazy thing is the government is cutting back budgeting for ATC.
Oh, really?
So now every airline has cut their routes to New York by 20% because they don't have enough air traffic controllers.
Wow.
And nobody's funding it. I'm like, you do realize without air traffic controllers, we can't get off the ground.
Yeah.
We literally can't take off. We have block times. Like, they'll hold us at the runway just for the flow into Chicago or Dallas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, because they're going to say there's too many other things in the sky, and there just are. Those airports are hubs. There's so many flights coming in and out.
And that's like, I respect ATC. It's like Chicago, they're mean.
Yeah.
they will cuss you out and stuff at the pod. They're ruthless, and I get it. Like their job is stressful, man.
Oh, for sure.
Managing that much traffic, getting on time, keeping it separated.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's life or death, and that's how they're managing. It's high stress job. I know that was like a big rate of suicide too for a long time.
Because the problem with them is they're never involved in the accident, so they carry that burden with them.
Oh, man. Yeah, it'd probably be easier if they just died also.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly. But I think next time I'm in town, I'm definitely going to check out a comedy club now.
For sure, yeah. Over by O'Hare, there's a ton, and then not far from where we're at. Obviously, we just passed Second City over there, but Old Chicago has a ton of other ones too. There's a Laugh Factory, Zanies, as well over here, and then Second City. I mean, tons of comedy, definitely. Yeah.
Do you suggest any new people to watch on Netflix or anything?
Oh man, who are some of my favorites? I love Pete Holmes, Whitney Cummings. Taylor Tomlinson, hilarious, just dropped a special. Roy Woods Jr., really funny guy. He's got a couple of specials out there. Who's new? Matt Rife. I was just watching him on YouTube. He's really funny.
Yeah, I've seen a good amount of his.
Yeah, he's got a good special coming out soon. Who else I'm thinking? Yeah, I would say there's a pretty good amount. Obviously, Ari Shafir is a good one. Big J Okerson just dropped something on YouTube also, which is pretty cool. Really funny guys. You'll see them on Rogan too. Who else? Jim Gaffigan, really funny. He and actually Chappelle are coming to Chicago in I think in October or August. Yeah, so they're both doing something which is interesting. Oh no, Seinfeld and Gaffigan are doing something on Chappelle. Seinfeld.
Well, I appreciate the ride. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, man, this was great chat, dude. Great chat. So
good luck with everything, and hopefully I see you on Netflix one day.
Definitely. Hopefully. Have a good one. Thanks.
Thank you.